I'm Bucky McMillan. You're watching Average Joe Sports Talk.
All right, everybody, welcome in to Average Joe Sports Talk. I am here with Bucky McMillan, the coach of the Mountain Brook Spartans. Actually, unbelievable coach that's kind of set the standard very high in the state of Alabama and put Alabama on the map, so to speak, in basketball, in my opinion, personal opinion. Coach, it's truly an honor for you to have us in today. First, hey, the first thing I want to talk to you about, it's pretty remarkable what you've built here, with the 5 state championship rings and being named National Coach of the Year in 2018. Playing at that level, it's kind of remarkable that you're doing it in one of the richest zip codes in the world. I mean, well, in the world, I guess you could say. But you're doing it in a suburban area. Suburban areas traditionally are not known for talented basketball teams. Can you speak on that a little bit?
Yeah, I grew up here, and so it's interesting because when I came through here, people didn't think that it was possible for suburban kids to be great at basketball. But if you were going to be good at basketball, you had to play a certain way. You had to play slow down, half court, play in the 30s. And that is one way to play. And some teams have had some success doing that. But it was really important for me, somebody who always wanted to play basketball and make basketball exciting, that when I coach, I wanted to find the most fun way to be successful.
Absolutely.
And, I'm proud of what we've done and how we've done what we've done and the success we've had, but I'm really proud of the way we've done it, playing attacking basketball. And I think it's actually, the scores have been higher, and I think it's actually trickled to other teams throughout the state. I got a buddy of mine, Robbie Coker, who's done a great job at Plainview. I remember one of the biggest compliments I've had was, we talked a good bit, and we've known each other a while, and he said, man, I went and watched y'all play Leah Huntsville. He was, and we beat him in the regional final game. That game changed my life. That changed how I want to play basketball.
That's awesome.
And you see what he's done at Plainview, and I guarantee you that some people watch Plainview's games and said, hey, I want to do that, and maybe there's some team that emulated that, and it's trickled. And so the good part is that the game's growing, and people are playing more exciting basketball, I feel, and that's great for our state.
Absolutely, the more open court concept, and you guys are definitely head of the spear on that, and in my opinion. Like you said, Robbie definitely branched out, and I can assure you, I'm from that area. There's definitely some teams kind of mimicking what he's doing now, no doubt. Also, in watching your interviews, the one thing that stuck out to me more than anything else is your relentless pursuit of greatness. You don't allow yourself or your players to settle. Can you speak about that a little bit?
Yeah, we don't really play, like when we play these games, like we play tomorrow, we play Spain Park, for example, and we're not ever focusing really on the other team, honestly. We focus on ourselves, and, we had a big win here, some big wins this year that I've been really upset about the way that we played and how we could have played better. And, we've lost one game this year when I was really pleased at our effort in the game. So I think the thing that people always have to do, they just can't be so result-oriented, where it's like we win, we play good, we lost, we play bad.
That's right.
There's got to be that standard, but it's got to be that standard not every game. It's got to be every play, every second. We're going to put our best foot forward. Our program's always been based on hard work, being unselfish, and being fearless. And that's what we've always talked about, and we want to do that in everything that we do. Absolutely. Whether it's practice, whether it's the weight room, whether it's a game, and that we can walk away and they said there was a camera just on me this entire game. Was I giving that max effort all the time? Was I being an unselfish player? Was I playing with great confidence? And that's kind of our goal for our program. And if you do that all the time, you can be proud of whatever it is you accomplish.
I've also seen you talk numerous times about giving 100% of the time. I thought that was very unique in the way you described it. You even said like great players that may give you 90%, or 100%, 90% of the time, is going to get beaten by the guy who gives you 100% of the time. That's unbelievable.
Well, it's a thing for life as well that, if I would tell that to our guys, if you gave that the hour that you're in whatever your math class is or your English class, how much better of a student would you be if you could lock in during that time period? Because at the end of the day, basketball is great, and we'll have some guys that will want to go pursue basketball into college, but the majority of the guys will not be pursuing basketball professionally. But they will have a job as a professional where they're going to be required to lock in and give 100% focus, 100% effort during their work, and so hopefully it will carry over.
I also noticed about almost every single interview I've seen with you, people constantly asking you about college, and I don't want to do that in this interview. I'm going to go to a different direction. I want to know, you talked about limitations several times and not having limitations and getting rid of them. How far do you think you can drive this program? Honestly, I mean, if you stay here and, like you said, you invest 100% of your career, let's just say you did, how far do you think you can take this?
Well, it goes back because we're not really so focused on results that I can take it as far as us always reaching our potential. So that's would be my answer, that I think that every year we can reach our potential. Some years it's going to be, you may be able to win 12 games. That's the reality of it. Like, some years your potential may only be to win 12 games. And some years your potential may be to win 30 games. And who does a better job? The coach that their potential is to win 12 games and they win 12, or the coaches whose potential is to win 30 and they win 20?
That's a good point.
And so that's the thing, if you're a high school basketball coach, you got to be pleased with is, am I helping my guys reach their potential? And again, it's a great life lesson because it carries over to anything that you're doing. Because can I reach my potential, whatever I decide to embark on in my life? And if the answer to that is, well, I'm not going to put forth the effort to reach my potential, whether it's basketball, whether it's a job, whether it's cleaning my room, why waste the time to do it, right? So the whole deal is, if you're going to do something and you're going to spend the time to do it and it's important enough for you to do the best job that you can of doing it. And that would always be my goal here, is that I want people to say, if I coach here for 35 years, say, man, they may say the number of games won or championships, they're going to say, man, every 2 years it feels like that team maxed out. That
Absolutely.
team maxed out,
Makes sense. From the outside looking in, a lot of times I hear coaches come up to me all the time and they say, hey, I've seen your interview with whoever, and I caught this from it, or I got this from it. What is something that you think a coach maybe watching this can pick up on? In other words, my players absolutely have to do this to be a part of this program.
Yeah, I would just say, I think that sometimes coaches get coaching backwards. They think that coaching is number one about X's and O's. And great coaches, you have to have the X's and O's to it. There's no doubt about that. But I think the number one thing that if you looked at all programs who are successful, whether it's football, baseball, basketball, any sport, any athlete, it's going to be max effort, right? I mean, that's the number one thing. If you're not able to give max effort every day, it's impossible to reach your potential. So, and basketball is a team sport.
Absolutely.
So after you give max effort, you got to have guys that are playing for each other.
Correct.
And then you got to put players that play with confidence. And that would be the three things. I think most coaches, when to talk, obviously every coach talks is, hey, how'd you do this? How'd you get guys to press like this? How'd you do this play? But the reality of it is if I was going to ask our program one thing, it would probably be, the question that you started with, how do you consistently get guys to put their best foot forward to give max effort all the time?
Correct.
And that would be the thing that I would be focused on, because you'll watch a game a lot of times and you'll see somebody jogging back on defense. And coach, not a big deal to him. Guy screws up a play, he sits the rest of the game. And I'm sitting there like, well, you tell me which one's worse in that spot. Now, you want to have them both correct. But that's kind of, that would be the biggest deal. How can you get max effort out of your players?
That's correct. That makes a lot of sense. Now, you've been here since 13, correct?
I've been here since 09. I've been here 12 years.
That's right, 12 years. Okay. Let me ask you this, Coach. When building what we know Mountain Brook has today, what do you think the biggest hurdle you had to overcome to get to the place you are now?
Well, I think the biggest deal was the confidence on the big stages, right? Because, I always tell this to people, Okay, so like Mountain Brook is a community where people are very successful. You know, it's a high socioeconomic community. And I think that what I noticed early in my career is that it's not okay if you go to Mountain Brook High School to not perform well. What I mean by that is it's not okay to come home with a C. You know, like parents can be, you know, we can do better than that, right? It's not okay to, it's just not okay to not perform well. Well, I felt that sometimes we would get to these regional games and the weight of the world would be on our players' shoulders shooting a free throw. Like, it's not okay to miss a shot, you know? And so they were so focused on the result of missing or making the shot, and they felt the world was on their shoulders. And so I think the biggest thing that we changed is that we just talked about, listen, we love our community. We love our student body. We love our administrators. But in the reality of the only people that we're playing for that are going to be evaluating who took the right shot and who did not take the right shot are the people in our locker room. There's no one else out there that's been to any of our practices, every one of our practices. So you can't play with the weight of the world on your shoulder like this free throw is life or death. You just can't do that, you know, because we'll have, 12,000 people show up at the Civic Center. If we're sitting there thinking like, oh no.
Hands start shaking.
That's exactly right.
Elbow goes down a little bit.
Yeah, don't even worry about that. And I tell everyone, and people in our locker room, we don't care if you make or miss it. We really don't. We just care that you go up there and you shoot it with confidence, and whatever happens, happens. And that's kind of been our approach. And I think once we were able to get past that part, we were psychologically better. And I think that was basically just not focusing on the result and just being confident in whatever we do, and we're going to live with whatever happens.
You're going to love on them either way. I mean, whether he makes it or not. That makes a lot of sense, actually. In a state like Alabama that football's predominantly talked about, to do what you've done, do you not personally get a sense of pride about that? Not just for yourself. I'm speaking for basketball coaches all over this state.
Yeah, well, I do. It really makes me happy when we've perform well at the national level because we feel like we're playing for our state.
Correct, you are.
You know, and that's what I feel like. I felt when we last year we went down to the city of Palms and we finished number 5 in the country last year, and we beat IMG, who won the national championship. They didn't lose a game. They had, I believe, 5 stars. A great, very well coached team. They were a great team, and we won that game. I really felt like we won it for the state of Alabama, and for a team from Alabama to be the only team to beat the national champion, that's something that everyone should be proud of. And I know that you get here, you're going to have, when you're successful, you got people that are going to love the success, and then you're going to have people that hate your success. That's just the way it is, And sometimes you win around here, and it's like, well, of course, they should win. They have Trendon Watford. Well, guys, Trendon Watford is an unbelievable player. He's phenomenal. But IMG had 5 stars like Trendon. Now, Trendon was awesome in that game. But the point being, it took a miraculous group of guys working together to do that for our state. Absolutely. It wasn't just some guys who showed up. It was some guys who worked hard, who believed in each other, who played for each other, and it was truly special. And anyone who doesn't see that really doesn't see something that's right in front of their face as being something genuinely special, and special for our whole state, and special for our sport.
And let me throw this at you. Having players like Trendon is unbelievable, obviously, and you've gotten some guys definitely to the next level. Let's talk about some of the guys like what I'd call Mountain Brook guys. Mm-hmm. Guys who was born here, raised here, came through here, program guys that you built your program on.
Absolutely. That's the thing. Like, I think that's the most attractive thing about our program. And so we played in the state championship in 2013, 2014, 2015, and we didn't have a Division I scholarship player on that team.
It's amazing.
Not one. And I think one of the big deals was with you talked about Trendon. So Trendon was at Irondale Middle School in the 8th grade and transferred to Mountain Brook Junior High School. So that's pretty young age to transfer. And one of the reasons his dad wanted that was because he knew that he was in a good spot, but he also saw the hard work of those players that you're talking about and those people. And he said, I really want my son to be around these types of people as much as possible to prepare him for the classroom academically, to prepare him to put his best foot forward every day. And you can do that at many places, but I feel like our guys here really do a great job of putting their best foot forward every day.
Makes a lot of sense. You've also spoke about your dad coming up, and he was a coach, and and the teachings and things you've learned from your dad. Talk about how you relate some of those things that you've learned as a father figure and how you pass that on to your players here at Mountain Brook.
Yeah, I think this, my father, he was the first. So Mountain Brook used to only play against Mountain Brook kids. So I'm talking about like in the 90s, for example.
Gotcha.
Like what would happen would be there would be Mountain Brook kids would play against the other kids in Mountain Brook. So my father took our players in our grade, the guys in the grade above us. He didn't have a kid in that grade. The guys in the grade above them, then good great guys 2 grades below us and below us, so about a 5 to 6 year gap. He took them all over the state and then all over the country playing AU basketball.
That's awesome.
So I was only in one of those grades. But he did that because he had a vision that for Mountain Brook basketball to be truly successful, we had to go play against people from everywhere. And I think that really changed the whole program, because when those guys got to high school, it wasn't like, well, man, I don't know what it's like to play somebody from another community.
That's awesome.
So it was a big deal for us.
A lot of coaches talk about the journey, getting to the top of the mountain and the hurdles they have to overcome to get there. And then some of the coaches I've interviewed talks about once they're on top of that mountain, it's a whole nother set of challenges. It's sometimes even more difficult because then you add in the element of, we're here, we are the men, and we read stuff on social media. What is your personal approach to that, and how you attack that and maintain what you have here at Mountain Brook?
Yeah. So I was watching the Bill Belichick, Nick Saban little clips they did the other day, and he was actually talking about the same deal. He said that it's hard to get to the top of the mountain, but it's even harder to stay there, because once you get to the top of the mountain, you are the mountain.
That's true.
And everyone's aiming to climb you now. And so, but I think the biggest thing is to have success anywhere, and continued success is, they say success, there's no continuing with the success. So just because you're successful has nothing to do with you being successful going forward.
That's true.
But I will say this: when you establish a culture of hard work and people being unselfish, right? Well, that culture can carry on as long as you never lose sight of the details. You never lose sight of the details and say, you know what, we've been good, so instead of when we do sprints, instead of making everyone touch the line like we've done for years, we're going to be okay with them not touching the line. And we're going to be okay with these guys coming in a 1/10 of a second late. As long as you maintain the details of what you're doing, if you have a formula for success, you will have continued success. Now, the difference is most people think success is results. Like I said, your continued success may be one year winning 30 games and one year winning 15. That's still continued success, reaching your potential. That's correct. And so I think that's very important in high school sports. It's continued success is going to come just from the day-to-day, work over and over and repeating it.
Absolutely, repetition.
Yeah.
And I think obviously holding people accountable to a standard, like you said, that 1 inch, 2 inches, you shorten yourself there. If it happens in a game, it could cost you a game.
Yeah.
Right. As the game of basketball has evolved over the years, and I guess you would call what you guys play like a Euro or a open court concept, where you guys have a lot of movement, everybody can shoot, pass, and dribble. What are some of the old school tactics that you were taught growing up that you've implemented with your guys, even though they play this new style of concept?
Yeah, I think our biggest thing is this, is that we're committed to defense and we're committed to rebounding. We get a lot of notoriety because we were kind of the first team to really press the whole game, it seemed like, but I think what's in the highest classification, there's in lower classification, I think you could get away with being a very good pressure team and being a decent half-court defensive team, but you can't in the higher classifications. You're just not going to turn teams over enough for that to be the factor.
Right.
You're not going to go play IMG and turn them over 30 times. It's not going to happen. So our strength, in my opinion, has been that we've been a great half-court defensive team. It's very hard for teams to score 50 points on us. And so I think that's an old school concept, is that, we're going to play defense and rebound first, and we're going to worry about offense next. So I think that toughness that you saw from players back in the day, where it's just like it killed them to get scored on. You know what I'm saying? Like, you saw back in the day, someone scored on you back in the day, it hurt.
I'm a Knicks fan, that's all we had.
Yeah, you got it. But you saw that, man. It killed you. It was like people guarded like their life and their family's life was on the line.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's how we want our players to guard. You watch some of the things today, it's just like, scored on me, now I get the ball.
Yeah, let me get it back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that 2K mentality, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Speaking of like new age and the way it's evolved, and let's just talk about kids in general, the distractions nowadays from social media, from girlfriends, from getting a car, driving, there's just, you just name them, they're there. They're everywhere. Parents telling them they're great. How in the world do you keep your guys focused?
Well, that's a great question, because what it really takes is, it's going to take people only listening to the voices in our locker room.
Boom.
And that's not as easy, and if it's talking to parents, if parents are watching this, I would tell them, you've heard the saying, more games are won and lost at the dinner table than anywhere else.
Makes a lot of sense.
Because what happens is this, for a parent, what you say and what you think will be the truth to your son. And so if you're at that dinner table and you're sitting there and it's like, hey, I don't know, why you passed to Johnny. Johnny's not very good. Johnny can't shoot. Johnny shouldn't be playing, and your coach should know what he's doing, and you should be shooting this many shots, and this guy's not very good. When all of a sudden your son's going to think, well, Coach, Johnny's not very good. I should be shooting every time. I shouldn't pass to Johnny. My coach is dumb. And now he's completely alienated himself from the team concept. And guess what? He's never going to be able to get over that mentally. And guess what really matters is it matter that parents' opinion for him on that team? Parents' opinion of him getting playing time is completely irrelevant. They don't sub people in the game.
That's true.
They don't sub people in the game. The only person's opinion that matters is that coach and the people in that locker room. So, that's a battle a parent cannot win. And it kills their son. So I think that's one thing that, I talk about this with our parents in the parent meeting, because I've never once had a parent come to me and say, my kids should shoot less, my kids should score less,
That's true.
My kids should play less. That's never happened. And you'll hear some of that the other way.
Yeah.
So I guess what I would say would, you got to have parents that are good and let you do your job. And if you're a coach and you have somebody that is not going to be bought into the team concept for whatever reason, you have to go with the guys that are. And I don't care how good the player is, if you got to leave them behind, if they can't get on board, you got to leave them behind. And I think we've had a relentless approach to that, and we're never going to waver on that approach. And I think that's really helped us, because I think the culture of our program, there's no leverage in that regard on our program.
Right.
We're not going to be held hostage by parents. We're not going to be held hostage by a player. If you don't want it, we would be glad to help you find a place, maybe a church league, a rec league, another school if you want to, that can help you do it your way. But we're going to do it our way.
That's right.
And if you want to be a part of that, we'd love to have you. Absolutely. And I think that parents really can help their kid enjoy the game, because here's the deal. Parents and everyone wants to evaluate basketball on what they see on game day. So what I mean by that is this, like 99% of what they evaluate is what they see on game day. Well, that's about less than 1% of all the stuff you do with the program. From the weightlifting, from the practices, to the bus rides, to the life lessons learned, to the locker room, to the camaraderie, to everything. Getting on the floor on game day is about 1%. But yet parents want to engage 99% on that 1%. Where their kid can be completely content and understand exactly, hey, I'm a part of something special. And so I really urge parents to really get a grip, because I've seen it get worse and worse and worse. Not here, but just over time with the millennial generation, it's just everyone deserves a trophy, and that's not how it was. And I know when I grew up, that's not how it was. And I knew, I mentioned my father coaching me, and my father coached me some, and he never started me. And I'll be honest, I was the best player on the team, and he never started me. He never started me, and there was a reason for that, that he did that, because he knew he could set that example of me, that others should be able to understand that, hey, this is about greater than what's happening right there when you step on that floor. You better be a leader off the floor, et cetera, et cetera.
Makes sense.
And I think more people can learn that lesson.
That makes a lot of sense. It's truly, it's amazing to hear different coaches' approach on that, because it's a constant battle in a lot of places. But sometimes, like you said, if you can get ahead of the curve on it, like it seems like you obviously have here, that definitely helps. In terms of motivation for you at this point in your career, what is your biggest driving force? What is your biggest motivation for yourself personally?
Just to help the players that are coming to the program reach their potential, because the reality of it is, we've played in 6 of the last 7 state championships, but like this group hasn't played an inning. You may have some players left over from the previous group. They haven't played an inning. they haven't played in one. They didn't go through the area tournament last year. So every team's its own team and its own experience. And you want those players to be able to say, we reached our potential, and then learn that we reached our potential because of this, this, and this. We reached our potential because of all this hard work that we put in, that we were part of something bigger than ourselves, and that we had great confidence. And so when you do that, those players realize that and say, we had success because of this. And now they're able to take that in their own life, whatever they do in the future, and say, okay, so I remember having success because I did this, and now in basketball, now I'm trying to reach this goal. And for me to have success, if I took those same concepts and applied it to work, to the family, to whatever, I can have the same type of success. And that's kind of the ultimate goal for everyone that comes through your program.
What's the biggest satisfaction for you to be able to come back here where you grew up and played, and take the bar and raise it as high as you have and have so much success you have right here in your hometown?
I really like the confidence that we see out of our program. I like that because there was a time when I came through here when I told people I wanted to go play college basketball when I was younger, and they just laughed. Like, this is Mountain Brook, man. That's not what we do here.
Chill out, bro.
Yeah, man. We will be a part of a fraternity, and that's it. That's what we do. It's not basketball. Maybe another sport. So I like the fact that our players, even in the second, we start coaching our guys up in the second grade. They start running our system and all that. But seeing those guys and them talking about, like, Coach, when we go play at the Civic Center, or hey, they're talking about playing college basketball. They're talking about winning state championships.
That's awesome.
The belief has been changed, and that makes me proud.
That is amazing. Man, we don't do that here. Remember Black Panther said that in Avengers. That's what I thought about when you said that. Let's take basketball out of it right now. What is your getaway when the coach's hat comes off and you go home to relax? What is your getaway?
I'm like an INTJ personality, so everything that can take me away has to be some type of mental stimulation, right? And that's what I love about the game of basketball. It's mental stimulation to me when you start coaching, And so, I'm not like a huge movie guy. Like, I can't like people like funny movies. I don't like funny movies. Like, people like these certain type of movies. I don't like. I gotta have like Inception, the movie Inception.
Something that makes you think.
I gotta have something that makes me think, or I can't get away from it. So any type of games, any type of things that can make my mind think, I'm going to enjoy. But I've also realized about myself that it's hard for me to be happy without competition.
Correct.
And so it has to be something that competition.
Let me stop you right there.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to realize it's hard for me, or has that happened yet where it's not, where I've got to disconnect from, if I don't have competition there, I don't like it? Or do you see what I'm saying? Like, does it make sense?
I came to the conclusion the past year when I was looking at all the stuff that
all these years
in my life that without competition, my life, it would be difficult. So, like, because I asked the question, could I go without coaching? Someone asked me that question, and I said I'd have to find a form of competition that could somehow replace coaching, because that's what it does for me. I think when you're an athlete, when you grow up and that's all you know is competing, then if you took that away from someone, they lose like a fire inside of them. You know what I'm saying? It just burns inside of you, that fire, because you're a competitor by nature.
Right.
And I think being a competitor is great, and that's why I like players that play sports and play people that are athletes have such a tremendous advantage and are so fortunate, because they have something to compete in. And people can find that after their athletic career. They can find it in business, they can find it in other things. But for me, it's competition. I have to have competition.
If somebody comes to you tomorrow morning and said, listen, let me tell you, Bucky, you can't coach. You absolutely can't coach anymore. That's it. What kind of career do you think you would even try to attempt?
It would be one where
you said competition-based.
It would be a competition-based career where my decisions were the difference between being successful and not being successful.
I got you.
Yeah.
So you're running for president. You don't want that smoke. You don't want that smoke, man. All right. Give me your favorite quote of all time. I know you probably have several, but is there one in particular that sticks out to you?
Well, I like lots of. There's lots of different quotes. I can't even remember this one specifically. I saw this the other day, and I just thought it was great. But it's Damian Lillard said it on the talking about the art of war, and it was after he made the game winner, and he talked about, I can't remember how the quote exactly went, but it was essentially something to the effect of talking about it's the calm, detached warrior who wins, not the hothead seeking vengeance or the seeker of fortune. It's something like that. I think that's something that our coaches here have done a great job of doing. We're calm, collected, and focused on getting our guys better. I think that some people as competitors are hotheads, lose their minds, and lose focus on what they're trying to accomplish. And I think it significantly hinders their ability to be successful. And if they're a coach, it significantly hinders their team's ability to focus on what's necessary. And so I think in anything, because we just talked about being a competitor, I think that's true. It's that detached warrior who's not fighting for the cause that wins. It's the detached warrior who is, always thinking the next step ahead. And I like that quote. I thought it applied to, when he said it, I thought it applied.
That's pretty nice. If we had a pause button and we hit that pause button and you could take yourself out and go to the next level, whether it be NBA or college, and learn from a coach at the next level for a year straight, his teachings, how he does things, which coach would that be for you?
Probably Rick Pitino. I think he was the greatest strategist to play the game, most outside-the-box thinker. Took 3 different schools to the Final Four, won it at 2 different places.
Unbelievable.
He could do it. You could legitimately argue if you said, all right, who's the best full-court defensive coach of all time? Pitino would probably be that. If you said, well, who's the greatest half-court defensive coach of all time? Some people may throw Pitino into that. Who's the greatest full-court offensive coach of all time? Some people may say Pitino that. Who's the greatest half-court offensive coach of all time? Someone would say Pitino. So of all the 4 phases of the game of basketball, you're looking at somebody who strategically is very solid all 4 phases.
That's very true. Yeah. And I think you said it best. No matter where he goes, he's successful.
Yep.
And so it's not he's at Kentucky, so he was successful.
Right. Yep.
All right, Coach. We'll close with this one. Years and years and years from now, you're a super young man. Years and years and years from now, let's say when you retire, what do you think you will be remembered for, and what in your heart would you hope you would be remembered for?
Well, from the outside looking in, people always evaluate results, which I think is wrong. So people naturally will say, well, he was there when Mountain Brook started a significant run that kind of changed the perception of Mountain Brook basketball, and probably some over the mountain basketball, in the way that people could be successful. For the people, what I would hope to be remembered for above all else would be that I instilled a level of toughness and put an edge in my players that carried with them the rest of their life, that when they saw adversity, that they could stare it in the face and overcome it. Because I think that a lot is talked about how to say yes sir, no sir, look people in the eye, which is important. But not my thing for our guys would be even greater than that, because there's been people that have been successful that never said yes sir, no sir. I think it's important. There's been people that have been successful that don't look people in the eye, which I think is important. But I don't know anyone that's been successful that hasn't had a toughness and an edge to them, that when things don't go their way, that they're able to bounce up, continue, overcome it, and be tough. Because that's probably the number one thing. If you kind of looked at everybody, everyone who's successful, it's that relentless work ethic, and they're tough through adversity. And that's what I want all our players to leave this program and say, I feel like I can take on anything.
Coach, and I'm telling you, it's been a true honor to get to sit in with you, your philosophies and everything. It's really amazing. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you guys having me.
Thank you.